29th chapter, shlokas 55, 56 and 57. Okay, so we'll do a quick prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtake मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातम् अहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरं हरि ओं तत्सत् ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातम् अहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं हरिः ओं तत्सत् हरे कृष्ण. Yeah. Okay. We can start. Shilpa Mataji, we need devotees to please raise your hands to take up the seva of reading Srimad Bhagavatam, shloka and the translation.
Hare Krishna. Barnali Mataji, you can read the verse and the translation. Hare Krishna.
We'll give it to two people, Mataji. That would be better. Then more people will get chance.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Barnali Mataji, the verse, and Sudha Mataji, the translation. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Swatam vichaksham cheshtitam atmano anantas chittam niyatsaridhi karnadhunim cha chitte jahiya anganashraman asattamam yuthagatam प्रीणिहि हंस शरणम विरामाकार क्रमेना. हरे कृष्ण माताजी, दंडवत प्रणाम. हरे कृष्ण माताजी, दंडवत प्रणाम.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranams. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. My dear King, just try to understand the allegorical position of the deer. Be fully conscious of yourself and give up the pleasure of hearing about promotion to heavenly planets by fruitive activity. Give up household life which is full of sex as well as stories about such things and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the mercy of the liberated souls. In this way, please give up your attraction for material existence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, quick background where King Prachina Parashit was wanting to do so many sacrifices to be elevated to the higher planets. I mean, basically, he was getting all the pious credits. And Narada Muni, very mercifully, Narada Muni is, he comes and stops him from doing all this sacrifice and gives him the story of Puranjana. Right? Basically, we saw what is the story of Puranjana. It's actually our lives. Puranjana was an allegorical story, but through that allegorical story, Narada Muni is not only addressing King Prachina Barahishar, but he is addressing all us conditioned souls. So from there, now this is talks between Narada Muni and Prachina Barahishar, which is continuing. And in this shloka, he's talking about Narada Muni is further telling how entangling is the grihastha life or the material life. Let's say the material life. Okay, and in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, many a times talks about this. Among the few things which Srila Prabhupada quoted often, this was also quoted very often by Srila Prabhupada. Karma Kanda, Gnana Kanda, Kevala Vishera Bhanda. Vishaya is Vishaya Bhanda. So now, if we recall the shloka from Bhagavad Gita, where it says the flowery language of the Vedas, right? Pushpitam Vacham. Yeah. It's not there in the purport as such. Okay. I forget the shloka number. Second chapter, I know, maybe 47, 48 of Bhagavad Gita. Anyway, it talks about the Vedas and, the flowery. What do we mean by flowery language of. Let me just see. Then keep abominable. No, further up. Yeah, 46, Mataji. No, above that. Anyway, okay. Yeah, men of small knowledge. Okay, that's okay. We can check what it is. Traigunya Vishya not this. Flowery language of the Vedas. Now, in the modern terms, we'll see what is the flowery language of the Vedas. What does it means, fruitive activities of flowery? The major thing that hits us, or literally encompasses us, are the modern day ads, advertisements. It can be on TV, it can be on our mobile, it can be the hoardings, the huge hoardings, especially when you're traveling long distances. It is. It really hits you. And now it is. Earlier, it was just still pictures. Now it is videos. Actually, it is very dangerous. If it catches the eye of the driver, and then something that is very intriguing, and then he or she wants to see it, continue to see it, then it is very dangerous actually, because it can. It can take for that moment, anything can happen when your eyes goes off the road, and then when you're driving, especially in high speed, when people are used to, they can understand what I'm trying to say. First of all, it is very dangerous materially. And then how is it dangerous spiritually, right? So what are these ads doing? See, basically, what do these ads do? First time you see it, you ignore it. Then second time, constantly they are bombarding, constantly, day in and day out, day in and day out. The same thing is being said. Like now, how we are bombarded with Bhagavatam every day, and then we are trying to, you know, uh, keep our uh, selves in such a way that we can keep our spiritual, work more on the soul platform. So day in and day out, we are hearing, listening, chanting, and then we are trying to purify ourselves so that Shravanam, more so the Shravanam is having such an effect, right? So the same way, whatever we hear constantly, whatever we see constantly, has a super effect. So every day they're going to give an ad. You drink this, you will be very young. You do this, you will be very young. You will never get old. They just don't say you will not die, but then they're constantly indirectly bombarding, keep yourself young, or how to become a millionaire so that you will enjoy. Then how to be healthy, how to be wealthy, all these meditations. You see, there is nothing wrong in being healthy, right? Nobody is saying one should not be healthy. But then the whole aspect of being healthy, the whole aspect of yoga, the whole aspect of these ads is just to keep us, further keep us in illusion. And more and more so, as it is, we are in illusion. And on top of it, they, emphasize on that. And then we get into that circle. So, actually, many places, Srila Prabhupada just doesn't talk about these fruitive activities. It is also all this mantra, the tapas, the austerity. And then what do they say? Your life will become a miracle. What miracle is it? I don't know. I mean, extending our karmas, extending our sufferings, is that a miracle? I don't. So, this is what Narada Muni is trying to tell mm, mm, King Prachina Bharashit, that any pious activities, any pious activities will only keep us in this material life. Again, I mean, it can be extended, it can be now, it can be later, whatever. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about mm, going to a guru, a bona fide spiritual master. Now, this shloka which Srila Prabhupada has touched upon, that it tasmat gurum prapadyete jignasu shreya uttamam shabde parescha nishnātam brahmani upa samashrayam. Okay. And then, anybody wants to read the translation there of that purport?
Hare Krishna. Shobha Mataji, you can read the translation in the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Mataji, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. 4.29.
No.
Is it 55th verse, Mataji?
No. In the purport, this.
Yeah, any person, from any person, right?
Yes. Yes.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Dandat Pranam Mataji. Any person who is seriously desirous of achieving real happiness must seek out a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of a spiritual master is that he must have realized the conclusion of the scriptures by deliberation and arguments, and thus be able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken complete shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, ought to be understood as bona fide spiritual master. A Paramahamsa who is one.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Haribol, Dandavats Mataji, thank you.
That was a translation of that shloka. So, Srila Prabhupada is giving, the Bhagavatam, and then translation Srila Prabhupada is telling about what is the qualities of a bona fide spiritual master, right? Must have realized the conclusion of the scriptures by deliberations and arguments, and thus be able to convince others of these conclusions. So, among so many other things that we have heard, what is the qualifications of a guru? The first thing that in Nectar of Instruction, and we'll come back to this verse, it says, Vacho Vegam, Manasa Vegam, Krodha Vegam. Basically, it's talking about persons whose senses must be thoroughly controlled. Right? That is what Rupa Goswami talks about in the Nectar of Instruction, the first shloka. And such a person can make disciples all over the world. So the first thing is sense control. And then, of course, he should be in the parampara, and then he should follow his guru. And then, about deliberation on the scriptures. And then he should have a realized knowledge also. Realized knowledge, what is realized knowledge? Right? Realized knowledge is something which is revealed. We can read Bhagavatam, we can read purports of commentaries of so many acharyas. Yes, definitely it helps because it is all realized knowledge. Now, whatever Prabhupada translation and purport is given is Prabhupada's realized knowledge. Even to understand that, right? Even to understand that, then we must also be in the position to have some realization. And that happens when we follow bona fide spiritual master and follow his instructions, right? Follow his instructions. Main thing is following instructions because we are so used to not following instructions. Always, material life is, we are always trying to find ways and means of circumventing, the instructions we have given, whether it is spiritual or on material, we always try to see how we can circumvent instructions. So, so that is why following the instructions of the spiritual master becomes, or the acharyas become so important, because what is realized knowledge? It is that it is revealed from the Lord directly to them, and they are giving out the words, right? So that means we are following the instructions of actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, so such a realized guru or bona fide spiritual master, what can he do? He can really transform the heart. Like how Narada Muni is a super example, right? That wherever, I mean, whether you take that Ratnakar, you take that other in Chaitanya Charitamrita, one more this cruel hunter example comes, Dhruva, Prahalad. He's like Chintamani, literally Narada Muni is like Chintamani. Wherever he goes and touches, and then they are the heart transformation. Why? Because he is convinced 1000%, right? So if about the supremacy of the Lord, about bhakti, right? And another most important aspect of a spiritual master is paradukha dukhi. That he is really feeling sad when the others are feeling sad. And when there is, when the person, when the Jivatma is wanting to really take the shelter of the Lord, then we find devotees. We find, not necessarily immediately, I'm talking about us, we really find Narada Muni or the initiating gurus. But then their representatives also. That's how all of us, if we can vouch for, we have come to Krishna consciousness. Suddenly a devotee came across, oh, I didn't know, how come? When they ask, in some get-togethers, I'm talking about ISKCON get-togethers. How did you come to Krishna consciousness? Then suddenly I met a devotee, and then they gave me a book, they gave me prasadam, they spoke to me, they asked me to, and I was in the temple, I used to go regularly. A temple was right next door, but all these years I didn't come, but then suddenly I came, there's nothing suddenly. We were, ready for that. Whatever transformation of heart to happen. And then we met devotees or Prabhupada's books and this and that, right? So approaching a guru, Srila Prabhupada is, insisting on that. Through this, that's how King Prachina Barahishat also met Narada Muni, or rather Narada Muni came to save King Prachina Barahishat. So much so, actually, when Narada Muni further shlokas, he says, go now, leave now. You don't even have to wait for your sons to come and then hand over, and the urgency to take up to Krishna consciousness, or fulfill our human life, right? And further in the although that was about the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada also talks about Yukta Vairagyam Suchyate from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, right? And Prabhupada talks about how it was Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur was, really revolutionary. He said, although, he started moving around in motor cars and other things, being a sannyasi, not just a sadhu, a sannyasi also. And imagine in those times, right? So, if we listen to Kunti Maharani prayers in Janma Ishwar Shruta Shri, if this is too much, then we cannot practice Krishna consciousness. No, not necessarily. It depends on what we are doing with Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri. If we are really using it in Krishna consciousness, then Krishna will give more of such facilities to use it back in his service. But if it is being wasted in sense gratification, Then, of course, obviously, Krishna will have his ways and means of taking it off so that we don't further move away from him, right? So something that we lose, we don't have to be um, despondent of, or we don't have to be sad about it. Okay, if it is something is going, which we think is very valuable, that means that it can be the person, or it can be any wealth, or our intelligence, or our that we were very famous, and then that is taken away. That means Krishna is mercifully taking it away to take us towards him, and that was which was taking us away from Krishna. Okay, so Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Prabhupada says in the purport, first time introduced motor cars and palatial buildings for the residence of saintly person, just to attract the general public in big cities. Because people were not going, you see, all these acharyas had this future vision that people will not go in search of sadhus and gurus to forest. So they came to the city. And then after coming to the city, it was revealed to them that how people are going to be comfortable, on bodily platform, and then they will not take up so much austerity. So they, as example, even Srila Prabhupada, as an example, used all the facilities, which was so much against the norm of the ritualistic norms. They were so much against the ritualistic norms, just to attract people. Okay, you can still do all that, but just chant. You can still do all that, do seva. So that famous answer of Srila Prabhupada, somebody asked him, you are a sannyasi, Srila Prabhupada, and you are traveling in aeroplanes. So Prabhupada says, yes, I am traveling in this aeroplane so that you don't travel in the 84 million species of life. You don't keep taking birth again and again. That was one famous answer of Srila Prabhupada. So you see how acharyas, time, place, and circumstance, keep the essence, keep the principle intact, although they can be at the outwardly it may look very gross that they are using motor cars, they're staying in opulent houses. I mean, when they visit, they stay, and then they're taking so much services from opulent people, rich people. But then they never compromised on the principle. Okay, to help us, help the jivatmas, the conditioned souls. They outwardly accepted all these things, and but at the same time made the heart transformation, transformed the heart towards, so that we all take up to Krishna consciousness. So actually we must, there was this festival of gratitude recently, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj's 75th Vyas Puja, right? So I mean that title itself was so attractive. It was called the Festival of Gratitude. After that, Mangalarti that we try to attend every day near our house, the temple. I was thinking every day should be a festival of gratitude. Every day go there and at Mangalarti say, Krishna, thank you, Guru, thank you, Prabhupada, thank you. Every day should be a festival of gratitude, right? To all these acharyas, because how much they know Krishna's heart, and then they take up so many difficulties just to give mercy to all. So every moment, every day, every second, whenever we can remember, it should be a festival. Okay. So we'll see the next shloka. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sharmila Mataji, the shloka, and Meenakshi Mataji, the translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Rajovacha Shrutam Anvikshitam Brahman Bhagavan Yad Abhashata Naita Jananti Upadhyayaha Kimna Bruyur Viduryadi. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The king replied, My dear Brahmana, whatever you have said, I have heard with great attention, and considering all of it, have come to the conclusion that the acharyas, teachers, who engaged me in fruitive activity, did not know this confidential knowledge. If they were aware of it, why did they not explain it to me?
Hare Krishna. What a question, right? All of us also, until we came to Krishna consciousness, right? Most of us, especially in India, are from pious families. We were doing these rituals in a very systematic way, year after year, be it Ganesha Chaturthi, Varma Lakshmi Puja, Deepavali, celebrating, distributing sweets, meeting relatives, friends, exchanging gifts, but all the rich, and then we thought we were very, what to say, we were good citizens as far as spiritual aspect is concerned. I meant that way, right? Just by doing these rituals, right? And then came up, and then we came into bhakti, and Srila Prabhupada cut us through. If I can use those words, cut us through those nonsensical aspect of ritual being spiritual. See, rituals are needed because it keeps our culture intact. It gives a lot of message to the next generation. Yes, rituals are needed, right? But what Krishna consciousness gave us was that is not that is not the ultimate thing that we have to look for as human beings, right? Doing ritual, and that too uh, after few years, or there can be many instances where it was done just because my parents did it, their parents did it, or we were forced into it. We did not know what we were doing, why we were doing, why we had to follow so many things. There was no um, bhakti at all. There was no love at all, actually. There are so many, actually, in South India, or can be even in North India. There are so many rituals which, involve a lot of physical restrictions. In the sense, you cannot touch this, you have to cook like this, you have to do this, that. And that initially can be a deterrent for many people. I mean, at least during our times when we were younger, we did not question. But now people do not accept austerities and all these ritualistic things. So just on the face of it, like the way we accept it, like few generations earlier, they said you don't touch this, you have to do this. We did that. But then now it is not like that. And first of all, they don't even want to do it. And then if we put so many restrictions, then it's all the more challenging them for to even follow our own culture, forget spirituality. So, and then, Srila Prabhupada, like how Narada Muni came, and then this realization came to King Parchina Barshi. What is this realization? He says, why didn't they all explain to me? All these people who are engaging, all the brahmanas who are engaging me in all the ritualistic activities, right? Because there again, just by knowing Vedas or few shlokas, or knowing some the procedure of following the rituals, and is not giving the in-depth knowledge of what exactly the Vedas want us to do. Vedescha sarvairahameva vedyo. Krishna says, I am in the Vedas. I am in the beginning of the Vedas, I am in the middle of the Vedas, I am in the end of the Vedas. And what is the purpose of the Vedas? To know me. So that aspect of knowing about Krishna was completely lost in the rituals. They became so ritualistic that spirituality was lost. right? And then most of these brahmanas who engage in the ritual, it is their bread and butter. I mean, it is, and when you're doing something for bread and butter, right? Uh, the focus is on what is it I'm gaining there materially, rather than the essence of it. Actually, Purohita, Parahita. What is a Purohit? He is a Parahita. And he is performing all those rituals on behalf of the common people, like we conditioned souls, because we cannot pronounce all those shlokas, and then we don't know all the procedures. So, on behalf of us, he is doing it. And because he is doing it on behalf of the conditioned soul, then we are supposed to give him some remuneration, because whatever offerings he does, he is telling the demigod worship or whatever rituals or yajna he is doing. It is on behalf of this person I am doing. And then, so please give all the results to them. Right? Okay. So, see, he is spending time and energy and all that he has learned and giving that result to somebody else. So, some remuneration was given to him. So, but what happens? What happened eventually, because of the progress of Kali Yuga? It became very commercial. Like, they say now they ask people for what is the duration of the homa. If we want to do some homa, what is the duration? You want to do it for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. But actually, he's not supposed to ask that. Now, this is how much time it is going to take. And then but then if it's a catch-22 situation, if he says it is going to take 3, 4 hours and all that, neither the person who wants to do it, nor there'll be people who will be sitting there to witness it or, take the benefit of it. So it is actually not just the Ritvik or the Brahmanas who are performing this. It is also onus on us. We have no time. Everything had to be done yesterday. If you ask something has been done today, no, it should have been done yesterday. That is the kind of culture. I mean, that's the kind of environment we are in. So in that, see, they still, okay, 1 hour, at least that 1 hour, they are spending time instead of wasting time elsewhere, they are doing this. So if you see the good of it, that is also okay. But in the bargain, what happened? They neither told the essence of it, nor people wanted to know. But nowadays, at least in South India, we see all these Ritviks, they after the whole yajna or puja performance is done, they're giving the meaning. They tell people, we kindly be quiet for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. They bring some mics and then they're giving some aspect of spirituality, some aspect of that material is not enough. They are doing it now. Okay, but maybe in a year, once or twice for 10 minutes, 15 minutes is not enough. We are so conditioned that every day we do sadhana also. Still, we are so attached to all these materialistic things, right? So we need an everyday dosage, 24-hour dosage, if you ask me, to keep us, to make us really understand that we are not the body and with the soul, right? So that is the question of Prachini Muni, that why did they not tell, why was I not aware of this? Why did they not explain it to me? Why? Because Maya Aparatya Jnana. Our jnana, our intelligence, our viveka, what if it was stolen by Maya? So, and then Srila Prabhupada, in the 6th canto, when this Daksha, it's not there in this purport, Mataji, not to worry. Daksha Prajapati curses Narada Muni. Because what does Narada Muni do? you know, he two sets of sons, all the 60,000, and then the second set. What does Narada Muni do? He gives them spirituality in so much, 100% that they just don't want to listen to the father Daksha Prajapati to populate the whole universe. Because Daksha Prajapati work was that, to populate. So he begot so many sons, twice, two sets, and then Narada Muni came and then advised them, and then they walked away, said, no, we don't want to get entangled in Grihastha ashram. And then, this after the second time, what does Daksha Prajapati, what does he do? He curses Narada Muni, says, you become homeless. You let you not stay in one place, right? So, and Narada Muni is very happy because that is what he wanted. He doesn't want to stay in one place. He wants to wander everywhere and then, spread the glory of Narayana everywhere. So Prabhupada there, he says, similarly, the parents of my disciples, the Prabhupada is saying, also, they have cursed me so much. They are also, because I am teaching spirituality, they think I have taken them away from their homes, from their parents. So I cannot stay in one temple or in one place for more than a few days or few weeks, whatever. Right? So I have taken this curse and I have passed on this curse to my disciples, Prabhupada says. And then so they also should not stay in one place. They should also go around preaching. So in that sense, if we take Srila Prabhupada's example, he was, following Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, he was also a revolutionary. As a sannyasi, he also performed Vivaha Samskara, where it was such a people could not understand what Prabhupada is doing. As a sannyasi, how can he do it? But then, if you go to the depth of it, he said, instead of these people, especially the Westerners, getting into illicit connections, it is better to get them married and then keep them in Krishna conscious. His goal was to keep people who came to, who wanted to be in Krishna conscious, to keep them in Krishna consciousness. Yena kena prakarena, whatever. If I have to do this, but the books are saying a sannyasi should not do this, but the books are also saying Sarva Dharman Parityajya. What is the ultimate goal? Krishna said that they all should surrender to me. So this time, place, and circumstance, So there are many examples, even in if we take the Brahmana Patnis, the Brahmanas so ritualistically doing everything, but then ultimately the wives who are just following the Brahmanas, they turned out to be more surrendered than the rituals that all the yajnas the Brahmanas were doing was to please Krishna, and Krishna Balram are right there in front of them. They said, no, we have to finish this. We cannot give you everything. Then, you see, that's how we get entangled even in rituals, right? So, many such examples we can see even in Bhagavatam, right? And a famous pastime, we can say, of Srila Prabhupada, where he made the just then who had become Western devotees light a candle, and then the deity installation was lighting a candle, and then because that was what was available, and then everybody doing Aarti. So you see, if it was not accepted by the Lord, then ISKCON would have not moved on for so many years, and it is flourishing. And from 108 temples, we have more than 800 to 900 temples. If everything was as per the book, and then the essence was lost, then Krishna's sanction would not have been there. That means the essence was there, The essence, the principle was never compromised, right? And then, Prabhupada says, Krishna conscious life, when they came and said, Prabhupada, Krishna conscious life is very difficult, all this austerity. Then he says, material life is impossible, right? And then there was another very interesting thing that I heard. There was this Sankirtan Prabhu who joined in, I think maybe Chopati temple, or he joined full time. And yeah, because the mother wrote an article in one of the Marathi magazines that how these Krishna conscious people are brainwashing, and then how they are taking away people. And then she happened to, because as a mother, she thought she should be at home taking care of her. And she wrote a very touching article, very emotional article. And somebody read this, some other Prabhu or some other gentleman, he read this, and then he said, correct, there are engineers, chartered accountants, and this and that, all such professionals, what they are sitting and doing, what are they chanting, that they left everything. And then he came. And then he said, let me see what it is. And then he came, and then he also became a full-time devotee. And then he met Sankirtan Prabhu. He said, see, I read your mother's article, and then I just came out of curiosity here, and now I am also, because unless there is substance, unless there is some truth in that, people will not just give up everything and then, right? And then even if you take Ravana, Ravana is thinking, this Lanka, it's made of gold. The whole of Lanka is made of gold. And this Vibhishna is going behind somebody who has monkeys as his associates, who's, depending on monkeys. He can't understand, Vibhishna's mentality. Okay, how is he going? He's not even with human beings. That Ramachandra is with monkeys, and I am having a gold city here, and he is leaving this and going, right? So that's how we also encounter. People think we are crazy. They wake up at some crazy time. They sleep at some crazy time. Their eating habits are crazy. They eat crazy things. They do crazy things. And then they talk is crazy. They look crazy. They dress crazy. Everything is crazy. So they can't, comprehend this. And then the one last thing I would like to say is Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj and Chanda Amarka are surprised how you can be so involved in bhakti. Prahlad is saying, I am more surprised how you are not attracted to Krishna. It's like, magnet attracting iron filings. It is more surprising that than and he's telling Shanda and Amarka that you are surprised that how I can be, so devoted to the Lord, that how I can always do bhakti. But it is more surprising how you people are not attracted to Krishna, right? So this is the difference between ritual and spiritual. Ritual, is just more superficial, and then we don't understand that ritualistic things are all temporary only. It is all temporary, because again, we finish those price credits, then again we come back into the cycle of birth and death. So that's how spirituality is. King Prachina Barshit. Then all of us also, to some extent, after we came to Krishna consciousness, why didn't I come earlier? Why didn't I know this earlier? After we have at least some taste, if not the complete taste, when we have some taste, all of us would have got this thought, okay, why what was I doing all this while? Right? And then to conclude, Madhavendra Puri says, Dharma Prochita Kait. What is Dharma Prochita? Kaitava dharma, right? Bhagavatam says. It says, Rochita is to perfectly kick out all the Kaitava dharma, right? And then what? Yato bhakti adokshaje. When you adokshaje, that is Krishna, when you're doing bhakti to Krishna, all these things actually become clear. Okay, but then we actually do the ritualistic, the karmakanda activities also in the lens of bhakti. In the sense, like for instance, if we have to take, even if we do Ganesh Chaturthi at home, because to keep the culture, first we do all the offerings to Krishna, and that prasadam we offer to Ganesha. So we may still do it, but then it is more of bhakti. And then we then we pray to Ganesha, okay, remove all the obstacles in our path of bhakti. Give us give us more knowledge about Krishna Bhakti or devotional service. So our ritualistic activities actually get meaning and become spiritual if we know this knowledge, and that is what King Prachina Barshit is wondering why he did not know earlier. And then one Mataji mentioned about the gopis. Yeah, yes, Mataji, how they were also so topmost spiritualistic and not ritualistic. Yeah, that was an extreme example of gopis of Vrindavan. Maybe some of that time we can discuss because it's already 10:15 and we have one more shloka, the last shloka. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'll read the verse. Rohini Mataji, you can read the translation. Samshayotra tume vipra sanchinnastat krito mahan rishayopihi muhyanti yatra nendriya vrittayaha. Hare Krishna.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Brahmana, there are contradictions between your instructions and those of my spiritual teachers who engage me in fruitive activities. I now can understand the distinction between devotional service, knowledge, and renunciation. I had some doubts about them, but you have now very kindly dissipated all these doubts. I can now understand how even the great sages are bewildered by the real purpose of life. Of course, there is no question of sense gratification. Hare Krishna.
See, actually, the Janmadhyasya Yato Nanvaya, the first shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, there also it says, even the great sages are in illusion. If we read that shloka and translation, can read it after the class. It says that even the great sages, the devatas, everybody are in illusion. I mean, like here also it came that now King Prachina Barshit is saying, now I can understand how even great sages are bewildered by the real purpose of life, right? So in the purport, there are very profound and strong statements that Srila Prabhupada is trying to make us understand the superiority of devotional service to rituals, right? And the most famous, and then we have heard so many times that it is very, very rare. Only fortunate few come into the path of bhakti. Krishna himself says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit itati siddhe in 7.3, Bhagavad Gita 7.3, right? Among so many people, among so many pious people who come to worshipping Vishnu, and so many people worshipping Vishnu come to, even among the Vaishnavites, very few people come to worship Krishna, and among those people who worship Krishna, only one person knows me. He's talking about the how rare it is, right? And then also, if we, just reflect on what is this Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev in the Chaitanya Charitamrita shloka, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bhi. Brahmande. Forget so many Brahmandas, right? If you take so many Brahmandas, that itself is bewildering. How many Ananta Koti Brahmandas are there? In that so many Brahmand, or we take our own Brahmand, one Brahmanda. There are how many Jiva Rashis, not just human. There's so many types of Jiva Rashi. And in that Brahmanda, right, then if we have come in contact with the bhakti, the path of devotion, how rare it is. We must keep contemplating on this every time, because otherwise we lose track. We take things for granted because familiarity breeds contempt. We take it for granted. And when we realize how precious it is, like if we have a diamond jewelry, we ensure how safely we keep it, right? And how safely we keep it and then take care of it. So that is how we have to take care of we have to understand that this devotional service is so rare, right? That we have got Guru and Krishna because we desired, the Paramatma showed us to Guru or devotees, and that Guru is taking us back to Krishna. I may have mentioned it earlier. There was this Brajapremi Mataji, a youngster, okay, who got married recently. She was looking out for so she is a disciple of His Holiness Loknath Swami Maharaj. Okay, and then she used to come to Mangalarti every day, and then she used to take prasadam from temple. And very, very, just in her 26, 27 years, and then so devoted. She was so inspiring, at such a young age, in this current age of scenario. She was a software engineer, she was working, but then so devoted. Then she was trying to search for a suitable match. And then so I happened to invite her one day for at home, and then I said, must be getting a little difficult, right? Because parents will be wondering, there'll be pressure from parents' side, daughter, girl, not getting married, age is going, and then so I said, it must be a little more stressful, na? So no, she made a very beautiful statement. Mataji, uh, marriage will anyway happen. And the more important is I found a guru. Coming from such a young girl, it really struck me. It's true. What she's saying is so true. Marriage, okay, maybe get a little delayed this way, that way. That anyway will happen. But getting a guru is not so easy. What a realization that was, so, here, Prachina Parishad realizes how he understood everything after meeting Narad Muni, right? Like how, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prakashananda Saraswati, what is it what does it mean? What do we understand by that another shloka? What is that? लवमात्र साधु संग सर्व सिद्धि हो साधु संग सर्व शास्त्र कहे लवमात्र साधु संग सर्व सिद्धि हो लवमात्र it is some 1/16th of a second or something. That is the amount of time if we meet, if we see, if we hear pure devotees, it says sarva siddhi hoy. All siddhis, we attain all siddhis. Like how Prakashananda Saraswati had, 60,000 disciples. And he was scholar of scholars. And where at Varanasi? Varanasi was the seat of, learning during those days. But what was he teaching? Mayavad philosophy. Now, there was another Brahmana. See, again, being a Brahmana, he was compassionate. He wanted somehow Prakashananda Saraswati to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he arranges a meeting. And when he arranges a meeting, what does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? See, the Lord again, Yadyadachariti Shreshtas. What does he do? Where does he sit? He goes and sits where everybody are washing their feet. Because if we have to change, transform somebody's heart, which is hard in many ways. It can be materialistically or in Mayavad philosophy or whatever, right? In any way, it can be hard. So One has to take such an humble position. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being the Supreme Lord, he goes and sits where everybody is washing their feet, humbly sitting there. Nadapi Suchichena. He says, he's showing, I'm not just saying it, I am doing it also. I'm walking my talk, the Lord is saying. And then his effulgent, they could see effulgent light coming out of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Prakashananda Saraswati was seated with all his disciples, 60,000 disciples, and then on a high seat. Then he sees Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sitting there in such an humble position, and then, he's glowing. And so he goes there. And then he says, you should actually be seated on this high elevated seat where I'm sitting. Why are you sitting here? And what does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, my guru told me. And then also Prakashananda Saraswati says, why are you simply going around chanting like this? You should be reading the scriptures. You should be telling the Vedas, teaching Vedas and other things. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my guru told me I'm a fool. I cannot understand all this. So he asked me to chant. That's how I'm just following the orders of the guru. So further humility, humility is saying, who is saying? Prakashananda Saraswati in Chaitanya. Then he calls him inside. By then already Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had touched the core of Prakashananda Saraswati's heart, right? And then they have a discussion. And in that discussion, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smashes all the Mayavada philosophy that Prakashananda Saraswati had to say, right? And completely smashing all that. See, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not melted his heart, right, then that Prakashananda Saraswati would not have accepted it. So if we have to touch anybody's heart with Krishna consciousness, we have to first we have to first make that relationship, that sambandha. Then only the abhideya and then prayojana will happen. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing here, if we have to bring people from ritualistic or materialistic to spiritualism, we have to touch their hearts. And that takes a lot of humility, like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing here. And then after he listens to all this, not only Prakashananda Saraswati surrenders to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all his 60,000 disciples, including him, surrenders to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? So, spirituality is actually making those relationships and touching those hearts and then actually taking them towards Krishna, towards this thing. Right? And the last, and why it is difficult to touch people's hearts is no sense gratification, right? And Golovecha Sridhar, again from Chaitanya Charitamrita, he would cry, in the night, thinking of the separation from the Lord. So much so, his cry would be so loud that neighbors would come. Yo, he all day doesn't eat anything. So let you eat this vegetable, you eat this so that you will not cry out of hunger. That was how loud his cry was. He was crying out to the Lord, Kolavecha Sridhar. And what did Kolavecha Sridhar do? He was selling those bananas, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come and every day trouble him. You're charging me too much, this and that. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would tell Kolavecha Sridhar, one day I will expose you. I will tell the whole world about you, who you actually are, right? And then in that Leela where he tells, after Kolavecha Sridhar realizes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Lord, he says, you give, what do you want? I can give you any siddhi, anything that you want. So, and then Kolavecha Sri says, nothing. I want that little naughty boy to always come with me and bargain from me. That is what he says. So you see, just listening to these, I don't know how much nectar I am giving, but at least I am enjoying the sense, I am getting the taste of that rasa of these pastimes. Although, bits and pieces, and I'm trying to say here and there. So this is spirituality. How much I'm able to put it across to people who are listening, at least I am getting some taste of the whole pastime and understanding what is spirituality, right? And then how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was the first instance where he took out that civil disobedience, right, to when they tried to stop the Sankirtana, right? And then because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, unless we have the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right, through Srila Prabhupada, we will really not get the taste, nor will we understand the, the rarity of devotional service and bhakti, which is much above the rituals that we follow. So all this, very fortunately, King Prachina Barshit was hearing from Narada Muni, and unfortunately, or whatever, you have to hear it from me, this thing, bits and pieces. So if it has made any small dent in our this thing, just purely because of the mercy of my Guru Maharaj and all the acharyas, and all your blessings and prayers. So I really thank all of you for this patient hearing, because it really, really is self-purifying, very self-purifying, for individually for me, personally for me. So I seek all of your prayers and blessings to do the seva in the right spirit and the right mood, and just as a seva, so that it helps my purification. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Wonderful class. Yes, Mataji, you might have said bits and pieces. For us, it was a flow of nectarian knowledge, Mataji. So we are really blessed to have your association. And yeah, Mataji, we can take questions. Rohini Mataji and Sumangala Mataji has questions.
Okay. Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Yeah, Rohini Mataji and then Sumangala Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. Mataji, I want to understand that shloka from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mataji, Lava Matra Sadhu Sang. Mataji, what exactly? Because they say even 1/11th of a second. So sometimes I feel that let's not use we. I listen to Prabhupada lectures, even Guru Maharaj's lectures and all. I don't see any change in me, Mataji, that much. And then also sometimes I see these celebrities, like the so-called materialistic people. They have these interviews and podcasts with Guru Maharaj. So, but I see still they remain the same, Mataji. So, please, can you explain, Mataji, what does it actually mean and why I don't see any change? Hare Krishna.
I give a story. Probably that will help. There was this boy who was a young boy, and the grandfather used to insist him to read Bhagavad Gita every day. Then he used to just forcefully do it, right? That's young boy, right? The grandson. Then, like all of us, he said, there's no use every day of simply asking me to read. I don't want to read. I don't see any change. I don't see any help, blah, blah. Same thing, like exactly what you said. So the grandfather said, okay, there is a tokri. The tokri is what it's made of, which has holes, and it was used to get coal, right? So obviously it was black. So he tells, remove all the coal and then go there and fill water and come. It sounded crazy, but the grandfather is saying, so this boy went, he tried to take water in that, and then by the time he came, it was again empty. What tokri I'm talking about with those holes, right? So then he went again, and then He went a few times and then he said, forget it. And then he comes and, he comes with the tokri. And then he says, what are you asking me to do? What is the use? See, where is the water? Then the grandfather said, now look at the tokri. When you took it, how was it? It was black. Now how is it? It is white. You did not realize. So do what you have to do. Maybe it will take some more time for us to realize. But the Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha or reading or anything, it's doing its work. It's only we have not realized it. Okay? So it can be, eventually we will realize because so much of anarthas we are coming with, so much of avarnatmika. It is, we are engulfed in this thing. We are not able to, but the cleansing is happening. Rest assured, because Bhagavatam is saying, and they are pure devotees. There is no question that it is not happening. So some of us are like dry grass, some of us are like wet grass, some of us are inside the water. So that realization depends on what type of grass I am. Cleansing is definitely happening. But to get that realization also depends on my soul is in which, whether I'm dry, wet, or this. If I'm dry, immediately I realize. If I'm wet, it has to be dry. If I'm inside the water, then I have to take myself outside the water, dry, and then this. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the wonderful class, Mataji, wherein you explained that religiosity and the spirituality. It was so good, Mataji. Likewise, Mataji, after taking Diksha and after where we have to become very serious, it becomes so difficult to, even to follow the list of, do's. It becomes very challenging, Mataji. In my case, I'm talking about. So, wherein sometimes you find an excuse, not deliberately, like you cannot, because you have got some other duties like your family members, though they are not practicing devotion, you need to attend to them. So in that case, Mataji, I keep on, wherein I'm not able to do Mangalarti or sometimes like that, I think that it is okay. It is okay. So is it, I just want to know, Mataji, like, is it my mental speculation that am I going the wrong way? Or sometimes that also keeps coming in my mind, like, Krishnanushīlanam, Anukulasya Sankalpam. So for bhakti, which is favorable, you have to do. At least you should be thinking of the Lord, even though you could not do physically like that, Mataji. So I just want to know, is that the right way or am I doing the wrong thing? I should, however, do that, Mataji. Anukulasya Sankalpam. In
Yeah.
context of that.
See, yeah. Actually, it's good to connect with a person, devotee, Mataji, and then explain your situation and then take a little advice from her. Because the mind as such, Anukul is everything our mind can, put us off into a comfortable situation. Okay. So again, we need, if not the guru, we cannot, because the gurus have their this thing. The gurus representatives were going, see, cutting off that material attachments in various layers also. So one thing is, yes, if you are thinking of in the mind, yeah, the mind cheats us. Somebody is saying, Sumangala Mataji, yeah. So you have, and it cannot be one answer for everybody. It is tailor-made. So your situation. There is an instance where I know there is one Mataji who where she is also initiated, but she cannot for nuts get out of. She cannot take any association in the physical sense. She cannot, because that is her situation. But she wakes up before everybody wakes up and she does Mangalarti, and that Mangalarti, her whole is in a cupboard where she is locked and kept, something like that. So one is we can get into a comfort zone, okay, and the other thing is, of course, the Lord is Bhavagrahi Janardana, is not Saragrahi. You didn't do Mangalarti after initiation. No, I'm not going to. No, he knows more. He knows about me much more than I know about myself. But there can be a danger of falling off into a comfort zone. And even if I'm able to do, then I might say, oh, okay, this. Yes. So you need to connect with somebody and to come to a kind of situation where you do things so that it is not disturbing your already other basic sadhanas. Because if I now say, no, you have to do Manglarti, and then you do Manglarti, and then you go to a situation where you're not able to chant also, then it is going to be a nonsensical advice, right? So you have to connect with the Mataji near your house, nearest temple, and then take advice how to go about this. There can be, if Mangalarti is not possible, do one Arti, Bhoga Arti at 12 o'clock, do Sandhya Arti when things are more favorable, right? And then more than anything else, pray to Guru. Help me. I'm unable to handle myself alone. Help me. And then help me in what? Help me in my sadhana. And then help me to um, mm, transform the people's hearts around me also, so that they are also coming into bhakti, and eventually all of us can do that. So it is
Thank you so
only
much.
prayers. It's only prayers. And then, but you, individually, you should take some advice from some Mataji, from,
Yes,
then from
Mataji.
nearest.
Sure, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, one more question is there, can we take?
That could be the last one. Yeah, please.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Shobhita Mataji. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Sanvat Pranams. Mataji, thank you for the wonderful story you told right now of the child and the grandfather. Because that is mostly we are trying to see what we want to achieve, but then we are not seeing what are the effects we are getting in that process. Mataji, but in the last shloka, we were just reading the last shloka. There was one line there that even the learned Vedic scholars get bewildered by the devotional service. So that Mataji, I couldn't understand that line, but
See, you see, if you see, it is a Janma Aishwarya Shruta. I mean, if you are learned, if you are very learned, it can be when somebody can be a PhD in some this thing, or in the Vedic this thing. When you are able to chant those mantras in some particular way, okay, and then when the mind being mind, you get proud. You are proud that you have learned something, and you are able to chant without seeing, without this thing. But the whole aspect of devotion of bhakti is humility, because Krishna says, Matta smritir gnanam aponam cha. From me is coming. If he is able to identify, he or she or whatever, the person is able to identify that I am able to remember because Krishna wants me to remember, then that pride will not be there. But invariably, what happens, any of the talent any of us have, we invariably become proud of it. So, devotional service will not be revealed until until that aspect. I am not the doer. Even if for a starting, I'm not the doer. I'm not. I'm not the one who's doing it. If Krishna is sanctioning, I'm doing it. Okay. Somewhere, if that's some humility, or we may not put it so much in words, that I'm just not able to do it. Um, what can I do? That desperation will bring us to devotional service. But as long as we are stuck, I am intelligent, I learned this, I can do it, then it will be elusive. Krishna will wait till we have become some amount of humility we show before he reveals the devotional service. Okay, does that answer your question?
yeah, Mataji, very nicely, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Dandavat Pranams. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Mataji, we look forward to your classes. Mataji, you explain it so nicely, like in explaining to the kid and the stories that you bring in. Mataji, just wanted to say all glories to your service, Mataji. Thank you so much.
All glories to Gurudev, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuveva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo ananta koti
वैष्णववृंद की
Tantra
के
Hare Krishna. Mataji, thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much, Mataji. Hare Krishna,
Wonderful
Dandavat
class,
Pranam.
Mataji.
Thank you.
हरे कृष्णा थैंक यू
Mataji, can I end the class?
Please. Thank you all.
Hare
Thank you all
Krishna.
for your
Thank
kind
you,
words.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare